brings us into our news for the day.
Yes.
Hooray for censorship.
Yeah. Yeah. So I first heard about this from Robert Meyer Burnett. I follow him on Twitter. He was, of course, very angry about this. Um, and of course, this article has just a bunch of ads on it.
Yeah, it
Fucking
wouldn't let me look at it without turning off my ad blocker.
okay. I guess I should have gone with a different website. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that, folks.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, so the by the way, have you seen the French Connection, DB?
I actually haven't.
Okay. Um,
I'm definitely not buying it digitally now.
oh well, no, yeah. I think my parents might have the DVD of it. I can't remember, but anyway, so the French Connection, as it's a classic 1971 movie, starring Gene Hackman as Popeye Doyle, Detective Popeye Doyle. And little interesting fact: Popeyes fried chicken restaurants. That's where they got the name from it.
Huh.
Um,
So they got the character's name from the restaurants. They got the restaurant's name from the character.
they got the restaurant's name from the character.
Hmm.
Um, but it's about but yeah, Hagman's character Popeye. He's going after a French drug dealer. It's actually based on a real case, and
Hmm.
Popeye Doyle was based on a real cop. Um, and it was directed by William Friedkin. Most people know him from The Exorcist. He did this movie before The Exorcist, and this was a widely popular movie. It won a bunch of Academy Awards. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor. Um, and but it was made in the 1970s, you know early 70s, and where certain attitudes about certain groups of people were very prevalent, and
Hmm.
that's very evident in Popeye. He's just blatant racist. I'm just no other way to say it. He's a pretty racist character. That's not to say that Gene Hackman is racist or that William Friedkin is, or they condone how the character behaves. It's just that's the character.
Right. I mean, it's a. How to put this? As I was on my walk earlier, I was thinking about how I would talk about this, and I think the biggest problem with this type of censorship. By the way, funny thing, if you stream it in the UK and Canada, scenes still there. It's only if you bought a digital copy, apparently, that you got uh, your movie censored.
Yeah, yeah. Which is just yeah. So the scene in question is him using the N word, um, which I mean is fairly common in that era, as in filmmaking. I mean, that's just again, like I said, the character is a racist.
Right. And I think what's funny about it is that by taking that out, you make the police at the time look less racist.
Yeah, that's very true, and yeah, it's definitely a little revisionist history there. Yeah, unintentional revisionist history. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like I would say it's an ongoing debate. So I remember once reading about how um, young writers who didn't really know their history and there's some sort of like slash fiction thing, like not fan fiction, but it's like gay romance stuff.
right,
Uh,
right.
Not understanding that what the you know like, what they wanted the characters to be would not have been acceptable. Like I think it was like a 19th century context or something like that.
Oh
So
yeah,
and like you just wonder like wait, the naivete, and this was like 15 years ago I was reading this, the naivete of thinking that that was acceptable at the time, like it kind of undoes all the accomplishments to make it so that people could be openly gay.
Yeah, yeah. It's not a good way of telling stories, and
In much the same way, censoring out an N bomb from the movie makes it so that you don't. It's kind of like people get the idea that, oh, things weren't as bad as I thought back then.
yeah,
Well, I guess they would have to know that it was there. At the very least, it's like it's more like you don't have like that moment of outrage.
right, yeah. Well, and it's also true, especially with this movie, because if you watch the movie, it's filmed very documentary style.
Hmm.
Just the way when you watch it, just the way it's filmed and the way it's shot and everything. So if you're upset about that, if you're upset about that word being in there, just look at it like it's a documentary from about cops in the 1970s.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, this is, and of course, the movie also came out at a time uh, when filmmakers were starting to take more risks when it came to filmmaking and storytelling.
Right. It was at the end of an era where basically every single Hollywood studio had gone bankrupt at some point because TV was eating their lunch.
Right. Yeah, and they basically just told all these auteur filmmakers like Friedkin, like um, Coppola and Scorsese and
Lucas, for that matter.
Lucas, yeah, Spielberg. Basically, just told these guys, "Hey, do whatever you want."
Just don't spend too much money. We don't know what the audience wants anymore.
Right? Yeah,
You
but
figure it out.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, this is I have the same opinion that I did when this was happening with Roald Dahl and Ian Fleming. I don't like it,
Yep.
and I don't. It shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and, as always, kind of like reverse it. Like if you say, well, no, that's an awful word that shouldn't be used, and it's okay to take it out of movies because movies shouldn't have it in there.
Mhm.
So I had the early example of naive writers who didn't know history, not uh, understanding what social mores were at the time.
Mhm.
But let's kind of reverse things. Let's say that you had a movie from the time period that had hints of two characters being gay for each other.
Mhm.
And I don't know, imagine 20 years from now, social mores have done a 180 and somebody decided that that was inappropriate, so they edited that out. It's like a
Yeah,
minor edit. It was like a bit of subtext, but you take out one scene and that's gone.
yeah,
Would It's
yeah.
basically that's the thing about free speech. You're going to get unhappy occasionally.
Yes, yeah. Actually, I have an example of that.
Oh,
What you were just saying. Spartacus.
hmm,
There's a scene in Spartacus. It's Laurence Olivier and Tony Curtis, their
hmm,
characters, and the conversation they have has a lot of gay overtone or not. Oh, well, yeah, gay overtones in it. Yeah, it's
under
not
innuendo.
obvious, but it's kind of like, what's going on here? What's this conversation all about?
Right. Now, I imagine it's a conversation that you could probably cut from the movie and the movie would still be understandable.
Right. Oh, yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah.
So, would it be okay for, oh, I don't know, if a Saudi prince bought the rights to Spartacus and had that scene removed because it wasn't appropriate?
Mm.
Would you still be okay with it?
Me personally, no.
Right, exactly. Right. Rhetorical you.
Right. Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, so it's basically just, yeah, people will occasionally say things you don't like.
Right. Yeah. And it's a yeah, and I will say, like, if if it's upsetting to if that's upsetting to you that you don't want to watch this classic movie, don't know what to
Sorry,
tell you. Sorry.
sorry, your skin is so thin.
Yeah.
Well, at least, by the way, Disney owns the rights to this. I should say that's hence because they bought Fox. So
Right. Yeah.
hence the initial transition.
Yes.
Speaking